Thirds, a win. It was a triple header at King George with the thirds playing. With the thirds playing against East Benton Central, and I think it's been the first win in a while where we've beaten East Benton Central because there was a period when we never lost to their firsts, and then it just all fell apart. That infamous game where Johnny was trying to encourage the boys. So we beat them, thankfully. We made 177 with Tommy Fitzpatrick making 57. And following that, we rolled them for 121 with Bobby Diamond getting 3 wickets, Michael Witanachichi taking 2 for, and I think Jason Shell took a couple as well. So... or Sammy Wolf, one or the other, but
How are they travelling with threes and one?
Yeah, look, they're going all right. They're in the 4. They're 3 and 2. I think they're just in the 4. So that's a good thing. And the Fourths had a win as well. They're in the 4 also. They defeated. I can't remember who it was, but they passed them only 1 down. I think they were chasing 110, and they passed them 1 down with Paul McNulty making 55 not out, and Tim Wright, the Ghost, making 35 not out as well. And that was after. Someone took 4 for in the 4th. Trying to remember. I think it was.
Has Hamish played again?
No. Hamish is still playing.
Supernova?
Yeah, he just did that one off. I think Desi took a couple of wickets as he does. Moving on to the 5th, there was a win, which was good, even though they had 7 blokes at 10 past 1. Minahan, pulling.
Richie play?
No, Richie was supporting the 1s and 2s. But the 5th's one with Michael Donoghue making 36. And with the ball, Michael Whelan took 3 wickets, as did Gareth DeGarma. And Danny Minahan, Michael's younger brother, who's played over, I think, his 3rd game of cricket, and he took 2 for 12. So good result for the 5ths, and they're only out of the 4 by percentage, which is a good result. So Minahan steering the ship there.
Did he get any runs, Mick?
Mick, I think he just fell short just as they were about to hit the winning runs, and Mick threw his wicket away, unfortunately.
Wouldn't be any quick singles there, would there? Would be a lot.
No. He'd just be trying to hoik it over mid-wicket, as he does, with his back rocking, his head rocking back, as he does when he comes into bowl. But, I guess, instead of the top 2, the rest of the guys won, so, it was good at least. And in the juniors, the under-16s won, as did the under-12s. So I think the 12s are 3 and 2. So they're going for finals as well, so good luck to them. They've got some good kids there. But that's A&A, and we've got obviously the 2-week game this week, which will be a bit of an anomaly for the season. So A&A are playing Hampton Central, who I think are 3 and 2. They are, because they beat Amiga last week. So moving into Longmere Shield, as mentioned, Hampton Central, they defeated Amiga 8 for 151. Hampton Central made with the Warhorses, Amor and Gold making runs, and Amiga 123 in reply with again Steve May 3 for 18 off his full 9, I'd imagine, and Lachlan Hay 3 for 31 as well.
And I think Amiga still haven't won again, have they? I think they're on the bottom.
No, they haven't. So they're the only undefeated, only side who hasn't won a game.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a sign of the competition standard dropping. And that's a brand. No, just in general, because you're looking at it now, and I know teams like LePage and Cunning South are improving and all the rest of it, but
it's just changing of the guard.
I just think the standards dropped. That's my opinion. I think from the last few years, I think the standards dropped a little bit, and that's why you're finding teams like Hampton Central, who again, they finished bottom ladder 2 years ago, I think it changing the game in terms of the personnel. I think it's getting more used
towards Gen Y, which may be because they're not so committed to cricket,
which isn't as consistent as a guy like Amore or Gold or May have been there and done it again. That's why I said at the start of the year.
Same with.
I think I still think Hampton Central could be a smoky just to sneak in and get a top 4 position
because they've got those reliable, dependable.
They've got guys who have done it before. They've got over 100 games under their belts, and they're playing teams like Amiga. That was always that was a Monty, And then when they come up against the teams like Carnegie South, LePage, these younger groups, they're going to pick them up. But
where does that sit, like a Mackie, for example, who have those same kinds of players?
Look, their best opportunity obviously was last year. I always thought they missed the boat a few years before that, when they had Botsy and they were up and running.
Those straight sets years.
Exactly, I thought that was their best chance, and their list is just old hat, and I don't know if they're just tired and they're just not motivated anymore after last year getting so close.
Yeah,
So
well,
winning it and then coming back and thinking, geez, we've got to do it all again. I don't know if that's played a part, but
I remember speaking to Brendan Clark after week 1 with the washout in round 4, and he was saying that it was likely to be his last season this season. You know, he's got other priorities now with marriage and looking at kids, etc. And he said, you know, basically they thought that was the one that slipped, and you know, I think following on from that, maybe that's a mood within the team.
I still think, and the burden of responsibility had always sort of been laid on a couple of guys, being Buddha and Parksy, and that has to take its toll over time. But again, they're bringing younger guys through too as well, which means that they're not going to be as consistent as probably they were there last year with guys like Farrell and all these guys. So it's a transitional stage for them now.
Yeah, they're having to rely on guys like Clements and Bott and other guys like Tommy Nelson, for example.
Well, I don't think the Iceman, I don't think he's played too many games.
Who's the Iceman?
Parksy's brother. What's Dale?
Dale's been playing.
Steve Park? I didn't see it that much.
No, he's been floating around. But he hasn't, obviously, he hasn't been as consistent like everyone. And from what I hear, Buddha is, pretty much under the weather himself. He's got an injury, and someone mentioned that might even restrict him from actually playing for the next game or two.
And we'll get to it later, but he may run.
Yeah,
I think it's his first score over 50 this year. But if that's the case, then Jesus, if Buddha's not making 400, 450, they're going to find it hard. We'll
actually move to that game because having said all that, Mackie only just missed out in the last over. They made 126, which is admittedly not the greatest of scores, better than what A&A's done, but in the end, 7 for 126, as you mentioned, Crotterfield 54, and Simon Surridge again taking 4 for 20 off, I think it was 7 overs. And in reply, United were looking good, though. I think 1 for 90 or thereabouts, with Layla and Backman making runs, and then they left, and then wickets just kept on tumbling, and then it was 6 down, 6 for 121 I think it was, and they still needed 6-7 runs to win. And they finally got there in the last over, and then I think a few more runs just to seal it. But they had to bat their full 38 overs, and they only finished 4 runs ahead. So full credit to Mackie. I mean, Burnley United are the only team undefeated now, and maybe this was a scare for United.
Well, hopefully it helps them along, but I don't read too much into that. I think Bentley Uniting, just again looking at the whole group this year, they just stand out. East Sanding, we'll talk about them later. They're a shadow of their list from the last few years.
I mean, you look at the names are in there. There's there aren't that many.
And the fact that I think East Sanding were always going to be like when they played you guys at the start of the year. They had Sean Pledger and they had Manders and they had a very good team. Yeah, Duddy was. They were all there,
but then rounds 2 and 3, they had footy trips or whatever.
Well, Martin played. And we'll cover off on the Mackie game, but I think Mackie are 1 and 4.
Yeah, they've only had 1 win this season.
1 and 4. So they usually would have penciled in A&A.
Well, of course.
And Bentley Uniting, they usually get over Bentley
because this is, I think, what people have been saying. Their actual first game against a top 4 candidate. So they've still got other quality teams to come up against, and so the hopes. From the outside looking in for Mackie aren't that great because they've still got some stiff competition to play after Christmas.
Oh, look, to try and get into the finals being 1 and 4, no, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I'm writing them off.
Oh,
yeah? 1 and 4. West Bentley might have done it once in the last 3 or 4 years, but unless they pull a couple of outrights, which obviously with
what's surprising,
likely a little bit.
Yeah. So what's surprising is Mackie's generally been pretty good at one-day cricket.
Yeah.
It sort of suited them. They're very aggressive and they take it up to the other team. But for them to be 1 and 4 after 5 one-days, I wouldn't have thought that by any means. Which I think reflects just the personnel and just maybe a lack of desire or will this year. But
maybe they're resigned to.
Talking about writing people off or teams off or people, can I go to people?
People, yes.
Brett Ernst made another duck this week.
Yeah, well,
Jesus,
Well, he top scored for Uniting in the 2020 against us a couple of weeks ago. But I guess that's
cricket.
Yeah, that's right.
Hit and giggle, but
having said that, they do take it seriously. Uniting, they've got a full list to play with. But irrespective, you're right. We thought that he makes some runs.
You've got the kids there must be. I know Tom's made it back, which is fantastic for Tom, and then your Brisbane and these like Menarcheses and that.
Both Menarcheses are itching
they want to get another.
Chris Menarches is definitely wanting to be part of that team. So.